would not be defended. So we cannot go south to attack Mecca, nor can we go northwest to attack Khaybar, because either of these two will lose Medina. We cannot sit doing nothing, because if we sit, Khaybar and Mecca will form an alliance against us. But if we leave Medina to go to the house of Allah on a pilgrimage, then if Khaybar were to attack Medina, the whole Arab world will rise up against Khaybar. How can you do that to a people who've gone to visit the house of Allah? Have you no shame? We will teach you a lesson you will never forget. The whole of Arabia would have fought on our behalf to defend Medina. This is the brilliance of this initiative, this peace offensive, that we could travel down to Mecca without any fear of Medina being attacked by Khaybar behind our backs. Mecca decided to send 200 men with horses to prevent us from reaching Mecca. And Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam was alerted. So he had intelligence, military intelligence, and he took a circuitous route and was successful in bypassing the 200 horsemen led by Khalid bin Walid radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And having successfully bypassed them, we were able to reach into the area that is known as the Haram, the sacred area, where you cannot be attacked. As soon as we entered that area, we camped at a place called Hudaybiyah. It was not our intention to march straight to Mecca. We camped at Hudaybiyah so that Mecca will now have to decide, the ball is in your court now. What is Mecca going to do? Remember, they can't allow us in. The whole of Arabia would laugh at them, and they cannot prevent us from entering, because then all of Arabia will turn against them. You're violating the customary law. In other words, what we did, MashaAllah, we forced the enemy to the negotiating table. We forced them to come and talk to us. They sent one of their elders to come and talk to us. And he returned with the warning to them, leave this man alone. I have been to the courts of kings and emperors. I've never seen anyone so honored and so protected by his people as Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. And this man has come in peace. They don't have any weapons with them other than the sword, which every Arab is allowed according to customary law. Leave him alone. They sent someone else after that. And when the Prophet saw him coming, he knew that this was a man who had a very deep sense of the spiritual and of the sacred, although he's mushrik. So the Prophet ﷺ engages now in the psychology of warfare, because he knows the personality of that man. he ordered that the animals of sacrifice, the animals of Qurban, and in those days the animals were very gaily, beautifully decorated with garlands around their necks. So from the time you see such an animal, you would know, you would recognize this is an animal of Qurban. So he ordered that these animals, these camels, be paraded in front of this man while he's coming, so he would see them from a distance. Why? From the time the man saw the animals of Qurban, which every Arab can recognize, he was so moved psychologically, spiritually, that he turned back and went back. That's all he needed to see. That's all, to show respect for the Muslims who had come to the house of Allah. And so the Quraysh realized that they had no alternative but to negotiate. So they sent Suhail bin Amr, who was a diplomat. Suhail conceded even before he arrived, conceded that we can't stop you. We can't stop you from visiting the house of Allah. But Suhail arrived with this mission to try to get something with which the Quraysh can save face from embarrassment. And so the negotiations quickly got underway to try to find a face-saving device for the Quraysh. Number one, the Quraysh offered us 10 years of a truce, no fighting. 10 years. That does not make 10 years the Sunnah. If they had offered 5, we would have accepted 5. If they had offered 15, we would have accepted the 15. Because we wanted the truce. I'll tell you why. This truce that the Quraysh offered to us was a strategic breakthrough for us of tremendous importance. And so we were very happy when Suhail offered 10 years of no fighting. We couldn't conceal our happiness. But if there is a truce, no fighting, the implication is that the Quraysh is not at war with us. So if the Muslims come into Mecca, Mecca is not humiliated. There is no embarrassment because we have a truce. So that was very intelligent of the Quraysh to offer the truce. But that's what we wanted. In addition to that, they wanted to get some blood. So they said, this year you will not perform the Umrah. And we agreed. We agreed. There is a difference between the rice grain and the husk around the grain. And we were not concerned about fighting over the husk. We were concerned about the grain. And so we have a diplomatic sunnah here, that when you are negotiating, you must concentrate on the grain and not on the husk. So we said, okay. He said, you'll have to make your Qurban here in Hudaybiyah. Oh my gosh. The Arabs have never ever seen this before. Qurban is there in Mecca. How can we do it here? No Muslim was prepared to do it. And then one of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ said to him, you do it, and then they will do it. And see, he took the knife in his blessed hand and he sacrificed his animal. And then the other Muslims did it. But they wanted to put some more salt in the wound. It's not just the humiliation that this year you cannot make Umrah. This year you cannot come to the Kaaba. Next year you can come. But you can only come for 3 days, in and out. And during those 3 days we are going to vacate the city. They didn't tell us that because they didn't want to have any contact with us. But more than that, listen carefully now. If anyone from Mecca were to leave Mecca, accept Islam and make hijrah to join you in Medina, you will send him back. But if anyone from Medina were to leave you to come back to Mecca, we don't have to send him back. That did not go down well at all with the Muslims. That seemed to be one-sided. That seemed to be advantageous to the Quraysh. Why should we agree to something advantageous to them? But in his wisdom, Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam could see more than they could see. That when those in Mecca who are attracted to Islam were to leave Mecca to go to Medina, and in Medina we could not allow them to stay in Medina, where will they go? Where will they go? My gosh, they'll go to a place the Quraysh don't like at all. Oh no. And we would have no responsibility for that. And so we contracted the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. It is sometimes called the Sulh.